Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of Ryan and David Game Banter. Today we were talking about Titanfall for PS1, or no, wait, the Xbox One, and the Order 1886 for PS4. So which one is a more exciting title? Which one draws you into wanting to spend $400 or $500 on a console?
Or
You'll know after this.
for a PlayStation 4.
Or are they cheaper? Which one's cheaper right now? I keep losing track.
I think it's PlayStation 4. I don't know if they've even changed prices, but I don't think there are any PlayStation 4s available. Thus, Sundays. Let's see. PlayStation 4 price is $500? No, $399, so $400. And then Xbox One is $500, so it's $100 more, and you get a peripheral. Woo! You get a peripheral.
Why are there so many children holding PS4 boxes? How is that the best way to sell your product? People just want to show their baby off. It's a shame.
Alright, so Titanfall and Order 1886. So Titanfall made a big splash at E3. When we were there, it was huge. You know, it was like pretty much it was winning all the awards at the show. And everybody wanted to go see it, and it was pretty cool to watch, you know, them play multiplayer. It reminded me a lot of Call of Duty, and obviously it came from the Call of Duty developers. The Order 1886 is still kind of shrouded in ether, and no one really knows for certain what it is, because all that was really released was a trailer that showed the steampunk dudes in the Victorian era hunting something. And the exact description is... rewrites history by introducing a unique vision of Victorian-era London where myths and technologies coexist. As a member of an elite order of knights, join a centuries-old war that will determine the course of history forever. So, Derek, what's compelling? What do you like?
Is the question which one I want to buy, or which one do I think people will buy?
Which one do you think is going to drive people to buy a console? I mean, or do you think there's another game that's going to drive people to buy a console?
There's no question in my mind that it'll be Titanfall. Like, I mean, whether or not The Order is a good game, like, I'm sure it'll have sales, but it's unlikely to draw as much attention as a shooter is. I mean, that's what it boils down to. I personally would definitely prefer The Order 1866 over Titanfall, because I'm much more interested in games with the plot, but I think people are definitely going to prefer Titanfall over The Order.
Well, I mean, they're both shooters.
Well, I mean, as in online multiplayer shooters is what I mean. But I don't think The Order is supposed to be that way. And that's not the emphasis of the game, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been a steampunk game that has had like an online shooter kind of feel to it. I don't know. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think Titanfall will probably do better. I don't actually know much about either of the two games, but just looking at them, the chance to be in a big robot, a la Pacific Rim, would be, I think, pretty popular, in my opinion. Although I do like any game set back in history that lets you sort of change what's happening. So I might be a sucker for The Order of the two.
Gotcha. What about you, David? Go for it, Derek. Go for it.
Oh, okay. I mean, just look at what you can do in Titanfall. It's like one minute you're running around, jumping like off the walls and like running in between buildings and shooting people with your gun, and the next minute, like, you call down an enormous robot from the sky, it lands, you jump in, and then you murder more people. Like, it's gonna be a really action-packed, super fun game, and like people, it amused me because like guys were like, oh, one of the big things with Titanfall is they said they were going to combine the single-player experience and the multiplayer experience, so they're all in one thing, right? And people were like, oh, they're not going to be able to do that. Does it matter? Like, if the single-player experience fails to combine well with the multiplayer experience, is anyone really going to care? Like, is anyone buying this game so that they can have some sort of story? No! They're buying it so they can call down giant robots from the sky and do battle with people. It's gonna sell well. Like just looking at the gameplay footage, it looks like it's gonna be a really super fun game. Like, it's gonna do well. Honestly, I think personally, it has the potential to rival Battlefield and Call of Duty. Personally,
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement. So you think that the
it's
game
novel.
has a...
It's so novel. I think it can.
But I mean, you look at so the reason why Call of Duty and Battlefield do so well is because they're not console exclusive. The only one that was console exclusive, I think, was Modern Warfare 1, if I remember right. But the reason why they've constantly gained in terms of like each of the respective games is because it isn't console exclusive, and so they can sell more copies just inherently. Whereas for Titanfall, it's going to be only Xbox One and PC. And also, you know, I look at Halo, and Halo is a fantastic franchise that I think is better than the Call of Duty franchise in terms of the storyline, in terms of, you know, you can argue that the most recent additions, you know, Halo 2 and 3 and 4, but the original Halo was a fantastic game that had a great story behind it and everything like that, but it hasn't even come close to beating Call of Duty in a one-on-one fight because it's only on PC. It's only on Xbox.
I think part of that, though, is that, I mean, Call of Duty, you don't play that game for the plot. You play it for the multiplayer. I mean, that's the primary draw. And I don't get me wrong, Halo was a lot of fun to play multiplayer, but I think Call of Duty offers more of what people want in terms of a multiplayer experience, to be honest. I think that's why it's more successful. Halo does have a good storyline, and it was compelling and fun, but like, that's something I would prefer. But it's not something that I think the average gamer wants. At least not the guys who are buying trillions of copies of Call of Duty. Like, that's not what they want. They want to fight people really fast. They want fast, dynamic action, and that's why I think Titanfall has the potential to get in there, not necessarily beat them, but to get involved and be competitive, and be like one of the top shooter franchises. It's just so, it's fast paced, it's dynamic, it's interesting, it's tactical. I think it'll do well.
No, I think you're right. It's just they have their work cut out for them. I mean, essentially, you got a bunch of Call of Duty guys that have built Call of Duty in space with mechs.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a cool idea. Like, it's just like, oh, how do I make a really fun Modern Warfare game into something even more bad A, and that's make it in space and make it with these huge titans that you can run around with. And I think it's almost like I kind of wonder if they were thinking to themselves, oh, well, I was a developer on Call of Duty, and they wouldn't let us put in vehicles like they do in Battlefield, so we're going to go make our own company, and we're going to put in vehicles that are giant mechs so that we can compete with Battlefield. I mean, does that seem like to anybody else that might have been what happened?
Well, I mean, like, to a certain extent, but like, I don't know. Like, you have to imagine like these guys are all sitting around like in a bar somewhere, and one of them's like really drunk, and he looks at the other guys and he's like, "Guys, we should make a game about giant robots," and they all nod like knowingly, and they don't understand, but the idea sticks. And the next day, while they're really hungover at McDonald's getting food, they start talking about it. And I bet that's how it happened.
How all good games are made. Oh, man. No, I mean, I agree with you, Derek. I think Titanfall definitely has the potential, and I'm trying to think of another game that is a PlayStation exclusive that is going to sell consoles. And this has been my argument from day one of the console war. You know, why should I buy a PlayStation 4 versus an Xbox One? There are no games that I can think of off the top of my head that are exclusive to the PlayStation 4 that I really want to play. Like, yeah, I'm interested by the idea of the Order 1886. I'm interested. The only game that might possibly do that is Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes out, but I think it's going to be cross-console. I mean, I don't think they've announced it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cross-console. It's not going to be a PlayStation exclusive. And if that's the case, they've lost Final Fantasy, which was one that I was really sad was, an exclusive for PlayStation because I couldn't play it. But now I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, David?
Yeah, and even the two titles versus each other. Titanfall is something all your friends will be playing. The Order seems like it's not as meant to be. It's not like, I don't know if it's going to have a versus mode or something, but it looks like just a Last of Us or a game that's a fun game you want to play, but a self-enclosed game, versus Titanfall, where all your friends are, kind of thing. Because that's why you buy a console. Is a lot more people are doing it to be part of the social thing, like to be where their friends are and play with their friends. Not even for even exclusive titles don't matter as much as which title has all your friends playing it, because that's what all the guys are going to go do after work or after school or something like that. And Titanfall does look really cool. I like the mobility. I used to be a big Tribes fan, which is a shooter.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I like that you could, they had a ski system where you could jet ski and then slide down hills, and so you would try to get as mobile as possible. And watching the guys jet ski around and wall climb and hit off of stuff, I can see being good at being mobile as really important. And I also like where if you see a place you want to go, you can get there. Versus I'll play a lot of games. I'm not much of a shooter, and so you get in a map and you see some guy shooting from some top floor, and you're like, wait, how do I get to that top floor? Where's the stairways? You have to figure out some door to the building and the stairways just to get up there and take out the sniper. Where when there's windows and openings and you can jetpack anywhere, you just get to where you need to go and then shoot somebody. There's not trying to figure out maps that everyone else knows better. The map disadvantage is a lot shallower when you can just jetpack to where you need to be. So I kind of like that.
Kind of reminds me of an arena shooter, kind of like what was that game that Unreal Tournament?
Yeah,
it's kind of got that feeling of you can get around the entire map, or there's just crazy things you can do, and if they keep it that fast-paced nature of not just kind of being slow and
gravity, through gravity.
Why have gravity? We're in space with robots.
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 Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
My general thought is I usually wait on these things to see what sort of transpires, not just between two. I don't know. I don't usually pick a console based on one game alone, just because I can't afford to dish out a lot of that kind of money for a single game. So yeah, I don't really know. I don't have a single opinion right now of either console. I kind of want to see what comes out as a console exclusive in the next couple months, and kind of throughout this next year.
Okay. So it sounds like we're pretty one-sided, as Titanfall versus PS4, Titanfall versus Order 1886. That Titanfall's just going to win.
There's not a lot of information out on 18.6 yet.
I mean, if I was going to buy a game, I personally would probably buy the Order. If I was just going to try it out and I didn't know anything about them, because it's my kind of game. But Titanfall will sell more copies. There's little doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of sad. I'm all for competition and for I don't know, just figuring out ways to keep cool content coming. I just don't know how PlayStation's going to do that, other than indie developers. But the fact is, Steam's Greenlight program and Xbox has their own kind of indie developers are more powerful than ever. So Sony no longer has the exclusive on that, and I think that's what companies are missing. It's all about the exclusives. That's what sells consoles. Having a great system, having a system that people want to play and everything is good, but if it's doable and there's exclusive games that people want, they're going to get your system. Microsoft has Halo 5, they have Titanfall. I just wonder what PlayStation's going to come back with to make sure that they continue to keep up with Microsoft in this generation.
They've always struggled, I think. Even PS3, Like they struggled to have answers to Xbox's big franchises. I mean, where's the answer to Gears of War? Where's the answer to Halo? Where's the answer to any of those big franchises? And there really wasn't much of one. Like, was Killzone? I think Killzone was their
Killzone,
big
yeah.
exclusive.
Killzone.
Whatever.
I'll admit the Killzone trailers were really cool, and I think they also had Infamous, like they have Infamous Second Son coming out, and whenever I was at E3, I thought that Watch Dogs and Infamous Second Son and those games were going to be exclusives for PlayStation. I was like, wow, they have some good exclusive titles coming out. And then I come to find out that that's not the case, that Watch Dogs, the new Tom Clancy Division game, and Infamous Second Son is all going to be available on Xbox One. It's like, if you had got those three, you just clinched the next generation battle. Like, because those were all cool games that are going to attract gamers. But I think they only have Shadowfall, which is Killzone. That's their new thing, Killzone Shadowfall. But it's just not that compelling of a game to get me. It kind of reminds me of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
I wonder what the change is in the lack of exclusivity, if it's that the developers have more power than before, so they can, like, instead of getting pigeonholed into deals where they have to sign up with one company over the other one, they can say, "Why? Well, we want to release on both. We want as many sales as we can, and we can back ourselves."
True. I think that's true because they're so. I mean, some of them have so much star power that it's like, yeah, you want to try to make us exclusive? We'll go to Xbox. Screw you. Like, or vice versa.
Well, I think even Titanfall is going to go that way. So, I mean, this could be a moot point eventually, but I've read some interviews with developers, and they aren't exclusive to Microsoft forever.
Yeah.
Which it may be that this installment of Titanfall is, but Titanfall 2 is probably going to go cross-console.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has done one thing right with this console war, which is they've locked them in for the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning.
Which is what sells it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
One question I do have, I don't know if you guys know this, is PSN still free?
I think so.
It is, but there's also a PlayStation Plus subscription that's kind of similar to Xbox Live. I'm not familiar with. I think it gets you some free games, maybe.
I think it gets you the
It does.
PlayStation movie or the Sony movie library or something as well. I think you get some kind of movie subscription thing with it.
I have to admit, like, right now, I know that like Sony doesn't have a lot of exclusives. Like, I would buy a PlayStation, like, just for free online game services. Like, that's a big
Kind of
deal.
like Steam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with that one, and this is one I've expressed in the past, is that Sony's had two breaches of their network, and Xbox Live hasn't. Of course, that's not saying much. Recently, Syrian hackers hacked into Skype, which is owned by Microsoft now, and then they stole the social media logins for like the Microsoft CEO and some other guys just the other day.
When Target got hacked, and so their database was compromised. Target, the store.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, if people want to get in, they're going to get in, unless you completely lock down the system, and you just can't do that with like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. But but I mean, it hasn't happened yet to Xbox Live. So but anyways, but that's all the time we got. So who do you think's going to win based on these two games? I mean, I got to ask the question even though we already know the answer. So Chris, go for it.
Looks like the Xbox right now.
David?
Yeah, it looks like I like Titanfall over the Order.
Yep. Derek?
Titanfall is going to sell more copies.
Yep.
Just the way it is.
All right, everybody say something crazy.
Zazook says,
Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus.
All right.
What's my name?
What's my name? What's
happening here?
Who am I?
I've been playing Descent too much. Or not Descent, Amnesia.
Amnesia.
Machine for Pigs. There you go. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you later, and see you next week on the show. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and feel free to take a look at our website, www.ultimategamedb.com, and subscribe to our channel. We would love to see you there.
Definitely also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you like us or follow us, you'll be able to see when we're posting new shows and also a lot of articles. The Ultimate Game Database posts a lot of stuff on what games are coming out that week, how the consoles are doing on the console wars, a lot of fascinating stuff.
Yeah, so subscribe, like us, tweet us, and we will see you next week. Bye!